How's it going, guys? Connor from Running Warehouse. Today I am here with two very special people. On my right, we've got world famous shoe reviewer Jamison Michael. On my left, we've got world famous ultra marathoner Tim Tollefson. We're here to give you a first look on the new HOKA Speedgoat 5. Now, the Speedgoat series has been out for a long time. I know Tim has been wearing this shoe since the early versions. This is a shoe that is a reliable daily trainer. It's got a high level of cushioning to go those long miles, go those ultra marathon distances, and it's got the traction to really perform on a wide variety of trail surfaces. We're gonna dive a little bit deeper into this. First on up, I wanna talk with you, Tim. You've been running in the Speedgoat since the early versions. Really, you've tried every HOKA trail shoe. You're helping with the production. You get prototypes very early. Give me a little bit of rundown on your history on the Speedgoat and kind of some of your interests now with the newest version of the Speedgoat 5.
First, I think it looks pretty fly. I like the outer in that and the little pull tab at the back. But yeah, I've been using these for 5 years, ever since being a HOKA athlete, and it's part of my quiver that I've used often. I do tend to race in the Mafate that I just find a little more responsive, but this is a nice thing to kind of use in my toolkit. And I actually pulled out the Speedgoat 2, probably my favorite version, and the Chili Pepper Red. So it's kind of one of these for my shoe closet limited edition that still has not been used yet. But I'm excited to see that it looks similar, but the upper looks completely kind of changed. And I used to have some issues with some of these things, and so I think that feedback we've given them has just allowed development in each kind of subsequent version. But I'm excited to try the 5. Yeah, I think it's just great on like wet, tacky trails because this thing just grips and rips. So.
Yeah. And it's interesting to hear that you have helped with the prototypes. You've helped kind of get this shoe to where it needs to be. And I know Jim Walmsley is someone who really is a Speedgoat where you kind of tend to lean more towards that Mafate for a little bit more of a responsive ride. So it really comes down to preference. I'm gonna now head on over to Jami. Jami, you've been running in the Speedgoat series for years. This is a staple in your lineup. Give me some of your first thoughts on this new version of the Speedgoat 5 and how you think you're gonna kind of add this into your lineup.
Like my first impressions, kind of what Tim was saying, just the aesthetic. Like the first two, they weren't the best looking shoes, but like I could wear them, they were good shoes, but now like aesthetically, they're definitely upgraded the whole look of the shoe. So yeah, the upper looks more breathable, just the ventilation holes throughout the shoe just looks like it's gonna be a good fit for me. But the main thing is just the cushioning. Like the Speedgoat's known for its like awesome cushioning on the trail. And sometimes, you want that cushioning. Me, I prefer more cushioning. I know Tim prefers more of like a lower stack height shoe, but people like me, we like the cushioning. So I think the option of having the Speedgoat 5, true to what it does, is a good thing.
And from a stack height perspective, it really is gonna stay very similar to where the Speedgoat has always been. Very high level of cushioning. And it's really, the overall philosophy of the shoe is gonna be very similar. The traction is like nearly a similar outsole design layout. So again, if you like those last versions, this shoe has just been modified, small tweaks here and there to make it an even better shoe. One more question I have for you. I know your shoe of choice really is the Torrent. How do you feel that this shoe is gonna differ from the Torrent and where you'll use the shoes differently in your lineup?
Well, definitely Torrent is more of a standard stack height, standard cushioning, just gives you more of that cushioning feel. But I think the one thing I wish the Torrent had that this shoe does have is that Vibram Mega Grip, man. It's a cheat code for the trails. It just sticks on anything. You don't slip, you don't fall. But this is why the shoe costs a bit more. You get more traction, more of a higher quality rubber, but yeah, I think that's probably the main thing that I think this shoe kind of just is up and beyond.
And on the topic of traction, I want to bring it back here to Tim. You are the ultramarathon expert. How do you think this traction is going to perform on trails? Where do you think that this is going to perform best? And how important is that Vibram on shoes like the Speedgoat or your shoe, really, that Evo Mafate?
Yeah, so I think with the 5, I'm pretty psyched on just kind of those updates you guys were talking about. But for me, the Vibram's very, very important, especially when you're on slick, wet trails, creek crossings, which we have a lot in the Sierra. Also in winter months or early spring weather when you have those showers coming through. I think it's just nice to get that grip. For me, I tend to go to that Mafate just because some of the Sierra trail and off-route kind of things that I'm doing, objectives and scrambling, you're just going through choss and these big Tollefson scree piles, and it can shred the uppers. And I find that for me personally, just the terrain I'm in, that works well. But the V-rim is super important as a runner, like so you're not losing any like traction and losing momentum backwards or sideways. I just thinking about that, the traction, it also makes me remember how I do love the high top waterproof Speedgoat. That's one of my snow shoveling shoes. So they're in the corner of the garage, and I slip them on every time when the sear cement gets dumped on our house here.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, fantastic to hear your thoughts. Fantastic to hear from the world famous shoe reviewer, really who I consider the GOAT in the shoe game, Jamison Michael. The HOKA One Speedgoat 5 looks to be a fantastic option. It's going to continue to be reliable, high level of cushioning, that sticky V-brim rubber, really, that can handle any trail you throw in its way. The Speedgoat 5 will be available very soon. You can find it here at Running Warehouse.